Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. Just making these videos as someone with this disorder, giving kind of a first-hand opinion, recollection, things that I've noticed, I've experienced. Full disclosure, disclaimer, I'm not a licensed professional counselor, therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, none of that. But I am one of the 1.2% of the population that is diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. So this is just things that I've noticed. The reason I make the videos is when I first became aware that I had the disorder, I kind of tried to do some research, and there's a lot of information for victims, a lot, and rightfully so. This disorder does so much damage. But I just didn't really feel like there was any information kind of out there that I identified with, you know what I mean? So I thought, hey, let me go ahead and make these videos. Maybe somebody else out there is looking for information, looking to identify, with someone with similar characteristics. We're not all going to be the same. There's different types of narcissistic personality disorder, right? Mine stems from trauma, and mine is that basically that trauma instills just extreme self-loathing, hatred, you know what I mean, insecurities and shame, all of that stuff, and that's what creates my my narcissistic personality disorder. So today, what I am going to talk about is, for me, it's something that's really important, right? So one of the things that we do when we have narcissistic personality disorder is we gloryhound, right? And man, it's a bad one for me, gloryhounding, right? And I wanted to talk about what do we do? Right. Well, we have to find ways, to create self-acceptance. Right. You mean I can't get everybody in the world to love me and tell me how great and awesome I am? I got to do it myself. Yeah. Right. Oh, it's so much better when you got a whole huddle of people telling you how great you are. But let's find a way to do that, internally. So if you're not familiar with gloryhounding, what gloryhounding is basically bragging about, things or accomplishments, and getting that and telling it to others, and they just, kind of just give you this feedback about how awesome and amazing you are. And it actually goes into in two directions. So that's also why we make ourselves the victim, right? So what are we doing? Oh my God, this is so god awful. This is terrible. You're never gonna believe what happened to me, right? And what are they saying? Oh, I'm so sorry, my poor baby. I feel so bad for you. And we get the same kind of response that we do from gloryhounding, right? It's feeding those inner securities of feelings of shame and guilt, right? It's giving that disorder what it wants. So we need to find a way to self-accept, right, and to not victimize ourselves to others, right, but to acknowledge, like bad things on our own. So how do we do that? Okay, so one of the things that I do, and I try to make sure that if I have an accomplishment, that I really just share it with the closest people to me. And when I say the closest, I mean, the people that I care about the most, right? So when I make these videos, I try not to gloryhound on them. So I try not to speak about specific accomplishments. So like I won't, I may tell you, hey, I ran a race, but I won't tell you how far, right? If I tell you that I jog, I don't tell you how far, because like I said, at that point, I might be gloryhounding. I might, just be wanting to, oh my God, man, did you hear he runs this far or what, So I try not to do that. Because again, like I said, I don't want to feed that disorder. But let's say, hypothetically, I ran my first race at that distance. Yeah, and I'd ran one before, but it was more for a cause, and it was a much shorter distance. It was because my son has a medical condition, so the race was for his medical condition, and they do it every year. So that was the first one I had actually ever ran, and I plastered that thing all over Facebook, right? So a couple of months ago, I did enter a race, and it was longer. It was longer than the one I had run before, and I do jog. I jog regularly, usually at least once a week, and as many as 3 times a week. And every time I jog the same amount, right? I am not kidding. I jog this far, and it's bam, right? I don't play around. And this race was, I'm trying to do the math in my head. I don't know, say about 15% less than what I normally run. So when I go jogging, like, I run 15% longer than this race was. And I had months and months and months where I was jogging that distance for 3 times a week. So, what's so exciting, what's so special about that? You know what I mean? It should be really easy, right? Which, we could go onto Facebook and we could tell everybody, oh, look how awesome I am, how amazing I am, look at what I did. I will share, when I crossed that finish line, for me, it was very emotional. I spent some time really just internalizing the accomplishment. Even though I admit I had jogged further than that, probably 100 times. But starting and completing the race, getting the medal, everything, right? So I glorified myself, like, internally, you know what I mean? And it get a little weird, right? And I'll share when I go jog on my own. When I get back, I congratulate myself. Hey, great job, good job. I verbally congratulate myself, because I don't gloryhound to anybody about my jogging, right? I don't post on Facebook. I try my best when I do meet and talk to people not to tell them how much I jog, how far and how many times. Oh, it's so hard. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. But we gotta find a way to give ourselves that self-acceptance. Hey, you did an awesome job. Hey, great job. Man, good job getting that run in today. You know what I mean? So instead of getting that from others, let's get it from ourselves, right? Because glory hounding isn't the look that we want. That's not how we want to portray ourselves. We're looking to make our future better than our past, right? And that's not the future that we want. And remember, it's feeding the demon. It's feeding that disorder. That disorder wants that notoriety. But we're giving ourselves self-acceptance. That doesn't mean that there's not things that we're going to want to share with the people that we love. Because I tell you what, things are going to happen where you get like a promotion at work. And from there, what do? Well, do we run out and tell the person that lives 5 houses down that we've only ever met once, hey, guess what? I got a 40% raise and a promotion at work. You know what I mean? Because you know what that's about. That's just knowing that you feel better than them. And it comes from a bad place. But, hey, we want to share our successes with the people we love and we care about. And here's the thing. So for us that have this disorder, or we think we have, for those of you that think you may have this disorder, this is an internal strife. All right. What you got to be able to do is you got to be able to evaluate, am I sharing this information with this person because I truly want them to be a part and celebrate this with me? Or am I just looking to feel better than them? Am I looking to rub it in their face? Or am I looking to make that inner demon core of me feel better? Like, where's the root of it? Where's it coming from? And that's how I decide who I tell what, right? There's not gonna be a whole lot of accomplishments I have in this world that I don't share with my mom. Yeah, that's right, I'm a mama's boy, all day long, right? But that's my mom. I love her, and I want to share my successes with her. I want her to know when I have successes, right? And we all have those kind of people, but they're not everybody. So you got to have that inner conversation. Am I sharing this with this other person because I want to feel better than them? Because I'm trying to feed that evil demon inside of me? Or is it because I really care about them and I want them to be a part of my success? Is it positive or is it negative? Where's that core? Where's that root coming from? You only gotta ask that self, a couple of times, and you start to realize who the people are. So, I notice if I go to work and I keep bragging about the same things to the same people, right, and I'm getting the same response, like it's coming from a bad place. All I have to do is have that conversation a couple of times. Hey, am I telling coworker A this because they're such an important part of my life that I want to share this with them? Or am I telling coworker A this because I'm going to feel better than them? Or I want them to tell me how proud they are of me, and they want to and get them to feed this demon. I want them to tell me how great I am and feed my demon, right? So you get the answer and you're like, oh yeah, I'm feeding the demon. Yeah, I'm telling this person because I'm feeding that demon. And then the next time you come back and you're like, hey, am I about to tell this person because I'm feeding the demon, or because, and the answer again, right? Coworker A is, oh, I'm feeding the demon. Now coworker A, hey, he feeds my demon, right? So you don't even ask yourself after that. Coworker A, oh, I can't be telling them that kind of stuff, man. That's feeding my demon, right? That's not what I want for my future. I want a future that's better than my past, right? And that's how I get there. I start knocking those people off. Not everybody needs to know everything, because a lot of that's coming from a bad place for bad reasons, right? Not for everybody. Here's the thing, and I've used the analogy before. It's like alcoholism, right? And you can say, oh, well, just having a couple of drinks is, socially is fine. Yeah, if you're not an alcoholic, abstinence, man, right? No alcohol of any kind, because you can't do that, right? It's the same thing. I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. I can't just run around sharing with whomever. I got an evil demon that has evil intentions, right? So you'll try to justify it the same way an addict does. Oh, well, I can just go tell one or two other people. Man, you're going to find yourself in the back alley, looting up, right? It's, if it starts from a bad place, it's doing a bad thing, right? And it's giving that disorder the control. It's letting that thing sit on your shoulder, right? We crumble it up, we crush it up, we put it underneath our foot. That disorder's never leaving. That's gonna be with you till the day you die. Own it, accept it, acknowledge it, right? We can't control whether or not we have this disorder. And there's no getting rid of it, none. But we are 100% in control of how we let it affect our lives. I'm gonna repeat that. We are 100% in control of how we let it affect our lives. We let it sit on the shoulder and call the shots. We're giving it full control. We crumble that thing up and we put it underneath our foot and we stomp on it. Yeah, it's gonna be coming with us like glue on your shoe. I'm sorry, bubble gum on your shoe. It's gonna be following you everywhere. It doesn't matter. It can't do any harm down there. It's not running things. I'm running things. I am 100% in control. I am in control if I let that thing go back on my shoulder and make my decisions. but we have NPD, so we're going to want to justify and be like, oh, it's okay to just tell a cunt. Walk yourself through those questions. And hey, self-praise, self-appreciation, right? That's what's healthy. Find a way to self-appreciate. So when you have these accomplishments, talk to yourself. Hey, that was an awesome job. You really, really did a great job. I'm really proud of you. You know, start giving yourself that praise. Put it in your affirmations, right? You know, you do something good, put it in your affirmations, you know, run it for a week or a day, or, you know, put it in the rotation, right? And likewise, in the other direction. So that's the thing, I've told you, you know, this disorder doesn't care about happiness or sadness. All it cares about is what it wants, and it wants to be fed, right? And it's wanting that attention, whether it's good or it's bad attention, right? Whether it's happy or sad, I mean. So let's say you have someone close to you and they've fallen ill. We got people we care about, we got to share that information with. I get that, right? I mean, you know, likewise, I mean, there's people we need to lean on and we need to get some emotion out, right? I mean, it's very emotional. But you know, like I do, there's those people that we're telling because what are they going to do? Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. Did we really need them to know? Or was that demon getting fed by them giving us their sympathy? Like I said, whether they're, oh man, great job, or they're, oh, I feel so bad, that's terrible. Doesn't matter. The demon feeding, right? It doesn't care. So we got to treat those the same way, right? And again, you know, walk yourself through those questions. Like, why am I sharing this with this person? What is the root? What is the core? What is the purpose? You know, we don't always want the answer to that. Why? Because when we know we're doing it for the wrong reasons, we gotta stop. Nobody wants to stop. Stopping's not fun. Stopping's hard. Stopping's work. But we want our future to be better than our past, right? Right? And that's how we get there. That's how we get there. And I tell you, I promise you. So if you think you have this disorder, you've been diagnosed with this disorder, right? You're the ones I'm talking to right now. Don't for a second think that you can work part of this and not all of it, right? Don't. What I mean by that is, let's say you have 6 of the symptoms and you're like, you know what, man, I'm gonna knock 5 of these out of the park and I'm gonna control every bit of them. But this other one, I'm gonna let that thing do whatever it wants. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's what our disorder wants. It wants to convince us, no, we have control. We'll just let this, you know, this one do whatever. Not at all. You got to control every bit of those symptoms, right? Because here's the thing. You let him run that one, he gets back on that shoulder. He's back making those decisions, right? And even though it's the one, it's not gonna be healthy. Better future than the past. We want change. We realize that this disorder has disrupted and caused so much problem in our life that we don't want a future that looks anything like our past. How do we get there, right? We identify the issues, right? And then we make change. But we can't decide what to and not change, right? All right, I confused myself on that one. You need to acknowledge every one of the symptoms that you have in this disorder, and you need to address each of them. None of them are allowed to slide. None of them. None, right? I know I'm not a counselor, therapist, a psychiatrist, or whatever. Don't do it. Don't do it. I have NPD. Don't do it. Don't think you're gonna win that way, right? You can't do that, right? This is 100% abstinence. We abstain from allowing this disorder to control and run our lives, right? Take it back to being, you know, you're an alcoholic. You can say, oh man, I'm gonna be fine, you know, and I'm just not gonna drink liquor or beer. I'm only gonna drink wine. No, you can't do that. Total abstinence, right? Please, if you listen to anything, this is a big one, right? Please, So don't think that you're gonna let one little thing, like, these other symptoms are the big ones. No, they're all big. They're all big, because it's whether or not we let that disorder control us. And if it's controlling that one thing, it's coming for all of them again, right? We crumble that thing up and we put it underneath our foot, and that's where it stays. And we control things. But, we give that disorder that spot for one thing, and it's coming for them all, man. This thing is filthy. It's disgusting. It's so hungry, man. It never gets enough. It never gets enough. Like I said, I hate it. I got it, and I hate it. There is no cure. This is never going away. But if you do the right things, you'll control it. And if you control it, you're gonna have a better future than the past. And that's, again, it's what it's all about. Make tomorrow better than the past. Look at that past. I mean, lost every decent job I've ever had. Never had a job for more than a couple of years. Right? Cost me every relationship I had with significant others, with family, with friends. I mean, you add it all up. I mean, places I can't shop anymore because I cursed out the friggin' cashier. I mean, you name it, right? I mean, it caused so much damage, and I let it, right? I did that, but I know I have this disorder now. Now I can control it, and I can make my future better than my past. And I tell you, it is a beautiful looking future. It is so beautiful. With that being said, hey, stuff's gonna go sideways, man. Right? It is. Right? It's not like we just wake up and we say, all right, I have narcissistic personality disorder. I'm gonna work on it, and I'm gonna make changes. And then everything, lottery, bing, 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 you know what I mean? Like, everything goes perfect. No, stuff's gonna go sideways. But no matter how rough and bad stuff goes sideways, you stick to controlling this disorder, and again, the future is gonna be better than the past. It just is. It's impossible for it not to be. The future is gonna be better than the past if you control this disorder. I promise you. And it is worth it. It is worth it, right? Because look at the past. I mean, it had to cause similar problems for you like it did for me. You know what I mean? And stupid things that you have to fight, yell, and scream over. You know what I mean? Maybe you endangered yourself and family members in road rage, situations, right? I know stupid things like I was getting an amazing, awesome deal on a guitar, and this is one of my fails, right? I was bad at like freaking out and cursing people out, and I told him I was coming over to pick up the guitar, and he was giving me an awesome deal on it. It was, it was gonna be guitar number 14 in the collection, right? And I was getting it like dirt cheap. It was one of the ones that I had, and I went there, knock, knock, knock. Nobody home, nobody answered. So I came back, and I texted him, and long story short, I had lost my phone. So I had an old phone, so I had to be on Wi-Fi. So I couldn't text him until I got on my Wi-Fi at home. It was like an hour and a half drive, and I was like, "Hey, you weren't there," and we kind of went back and forth, and I felt like I was in control of it, right? But I was still just trying to like rub him into it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you were supposed to be there, and did. Eventually it just got to a point, he's like, hey, I wish you the best, you know what I mean? And I guess he like blocked me or whatever. I didn't get the guitar. And I think back, now, me when I had MPD, I would have been cursing. I would have cursed him out, and that would have been done from the beginning, right? But I still wasn't in control. I mean, I know it came from a bad place. I know at that point, what I was trying to accomplish. I was trying to rub it in, right? It was coming from a bad place. And if I didn't give it that, and maybe on the NPD scale, I was only coming in at like a 3 or a 4, doesn't matter. Cost me that awesome deal on that guitar. And now I don't have that guitar in my collection. And that guitar is sexy. I promise you this, man. That guitar rolled up at a bar, you better believe there ain't one guy in that place that ain't talking up this guitar. Man, this guitar was hot. Hot. It was nice. It was a lower model, so like I said, I was going to get it crazy cheap, but the color on it was just, man, amazing, amazing. And that's my fault. That's my fault. So that's a huge fail for me. That's an enormous fail, right? It doesn't matter that I didn't curse at him. It doesn't matter I didn't go up to an 8, 9, or 10 like I would have in the past. I still let it be like a 3 or a 4. It doesn't matter. It cost me that guitar. I gave that MPD a little bit of control, man. I let it out from underneath the foot. Maybe it was only sitting around the knee or the waist, but it was enough, and it cost me that guitar. But that's what I'm talking about, right? If I was 100% in control and I handled that situation the right way, I wouldn't have had to rub it in the guy's face, right? And at that point, we would have rescheduled another meetup. Hell, I may have just driven back out there again. And you guys, you want to talk about glory hounding? Man, ooh, you be putting in the comments, oh, Jim, your guitar's so sexy. Can you show me picture? Can you show me nudes of that guitar? I'm telling you, guitar was awesome. And here's the thing, when you got MPD like I do and you lose, like that's a loss for me, right? It eats at you, right? And that's what that one's doing. It's eating at me. And this is what happens with us, right? And it doesn't have to be our fails, right? But that's how we get when we're like combative with somebody, right? That we always have to get the better of them, and it just eats at us and eats at us. I promise you, to the day I die, I'm gonna regret how I handled that situation with that guitar, right? I am. Because when we have MPD, that's what it does. It festers. And man, that's in a pit. That's in a pit in the bottom of the stomach, and it ain't ever going away, right? But I tell you, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna forgive myself, and I'm gonna learn from it. And I promise you, you ever put me in that situation again, man, I ain't losing that guitar over giving this friggin' NPD a little 3 or 4, trying to get glory hound, not glory hound, I'm sorry, try to rub it in this guy's face a little bit, you know what I mean? Honestly, at the end of the day, if I spent $200 on gas, man, he was selling that guitar so cheap. He was. But, I digress. But this really is a big one. Let's learn how to get that praise from ourselves. Let's share it with the right people that we love and we care about. And let's give ourselves some self-praise. That stuff we would get from people that really, it's coming from the wrong spot. Let's find a way to fill that with self-praise from ourselves. Let's see what that does. And the same thing, with the bad stuff. When, instead of trying to play the victim and getting people out there, I'm so sorry to hear that, Let's find a way to get in there and give ourselves a hug and be the one that does that for ourselves. Still we share that with the people we care about, the people that we love, the people that is important to. But the others, the ones where it doesn't come from the right place, let's find a way to fill that with, ourselves.